Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Fade the Field. I am Coach Gene Clemons. That is CJ, my guy Chris James. Chopping it up with CJ podcast. Make sure you go and check out everything he does over there. This is, as always, a Seven Oracles production. And we know we missed you last week. And I thought that we were going to really regret it because I thought we might have some better series. But, I mean, OKC put BTA. The New York Knicks put double BTA. And now we're sitting with two teams that are probably going to have to wait 3 more games in order to find out who they're going to play in the Eastern and Western Conference playoffs. Do you think it's an advantage? Chris, do you think it's an advantage that they have to wait around so long? Because these are most likely going to be 7-game series between these two teams. I mean, these 4 teams that are still playing.
To some extent, it's going to be an advantage, and it's just based on the matchups, right? So for OKC, they get more time to get back Williams, who's been out with whatever is going on with his leg and some other things. So they get that advantage. On the opposite side, the Knicks, if they have to play Detroit, let's say, they get more rest before a physical series. And if they have to play Cleveland, a series where they're going to run up and down. So I think it actually is an advantage because they're not going to get out of their rhythm. They're not rhythm shooting teams like some of the units that, kind of get that rust on them from sitting down.
Yeah, and I'll say this too. For anybody out there that's looking for markets that are, in my opinion, almost guarantees at this point. If you go to a Knicks game and you see the player prop market for points and Jaylen Brunson is at like 30 or 31 points, just take him to get those points. Like at some point in the fourth quarter, he's going to go crazy. He's going to go bananas. And he's going to score 10, 11. Don't even worry about what he has before the fourth quarter. Whatever he needs to get to over 30, he's going to get it in the fourth quarter. I wouldn't care if he walked into the fourth quarter, CJ, with 0 points. In the fourth quarter, there's just something different. And I think this is what they've missed about him his entire career. He's been cooking these same dudes his entire career. In high school, they tried to say he wasn't the man. Guess what? They were wrong. He was the man. In college, they tried to say he wasn't the man. Guess what? They were wrong. He's the man. And in the NBA, he looked up and went, these are all the same fools I've been cooking my entire life. Why should it be any different now just because they're in the NBA? Nope. Barbecue chicken. Hey, shout out. This is me. Respect to Jaylen Brunson and all of the haters that keep trying to tell us that he can't be the catalyst for them to win a championship.
Yeah, and he's I think people underestimate. He's a legit 6'2". He's not 5'11". So there's this whole he's some sort of tiny or what. I don't understand what people are talking about. But the other portion of it is he is taking advantage of a situation that the NBA needs to figure out, which is, hey, if you're going to allow me to get fouls, I'm going to use those fouls, and I'm going to knock those down. And he takes advantage of it, especially in the fourth quarter, gets his points up. And that's not shade at this stage. It's more so just me recognizing what I'm seeing with my own 2 eyes.
Yeah, and he's also strong. So, some of the stuff that you think you're going to knock him off with, you can't knock him off with. And then then you try to play a little bit harder and trying to be a little bit stronger on him, and then he draws a foul on you. That's the dichotomy. It's like you can't play how you have to play against him to keep from fouling him because he's just too strong. He'll just play right through it. But if you go a little bit harder, he knows just what pressure point to hit in order to draw the foul. That's a talent. There's no other way to say it. It's a talent. It's different than what Shai's doing, in my opinion. Yeah. It's different than what Shai's doing because Shai is just flat out here acting like people are hitting him and nobody's touching him. It's the difference between somebody picking your pocket and somebody saying, yo, give me your money. Like, there's a lot more histrionics and shystiness with it. I don't know. I digress. Shout out to the Knicks who took care of business. Shout out to OKC who took care of business. Shout out to LeBron James, 24-12. If this is the last game that we've seen him and he decides that he shuts it down, man, the NBA is going to be in for a rude awakening next year. And a lot of content creators and people who look for narratives and stuff to talk about, they're going to be scrambling. People don't ever realize how much they need someone until that someone is gone. But let me not be the one to do it. LeBron James is absolutely phenomenal. He is everything we ever said we wanted in our basketball superheroes, and then we got it, and we totally flubbed the way we treated him.
Yeah, became an easy target because easy hits, and it's because people deep down in their heads and their brains know that there was greatness in front of them. They just didn't want to admit it, whether it was because of their affinity for another player, which I've never understood why you can't appreciate
love them
more
both.
than one player. Or what are we doing? But then there's the other portion of, I think people don't like to watch like lengthened out success for virtually anyone. They get tired of it and they start making up stories to make the other person seem like they're not either as good, great, or impactful as they are.
They want to see the fall. And I hate that. I absolutely hate the fact that people want to see the fall from someone who's been up in a high. And the thing that I love about LeBron James is he's never let people see the fall. Sorry. You keep waiting. Like remember, years ago it was not even years ago, just a few years ago was, LeBron, he might be doing something on the side, blah, blah, blah. So, nope. Savannah's still there, courtside, front, whatever they got going on in their own personal life, she still rides or die for him. He still ride or die for her. People are really upset about the fact that an NBA player could spend his entire career with one woman and there not be a scandal, as if that's a prerequisite to being an elite level player, right? They're mad because he's never had that 1 year that makes you go, oh, he lost it. Like, he just don't got it no more. Like, he never had that. He gave people one little like crumb of fall in those finals versus Dallas when he wasn't his best self. He gave him one little crumb and then said, I'll take 2 championships back to back after that, and then get to a third one. And if not for Kawhi Leonard going absolutely like crazy out there, he'd have 3 in a row. Like, every place where they want to say he's fallen or he's taken a dip back, he's always proven people wrong. I love that about him. We're going to miss him when he's gone. I hope this isn't it, but if it is, like 24-12 on the way out the door at 40-something years old, like, come on. It's a beautiful thing.
Yep. And you know what? And there's more parallels than there seems to be, and it's not where they started, but it's what they were able to achieve over a longevity span and period. And when they were, set for dead, came back to life. Think about how Tom Brady was at the end of his career. And I don't mean the last game he played, but the man was voted the #1 player in the NFL. And not his last year, his second to last year, when we thought he might be cashed out after New England. And while LeBron hasn't had that type of fall, what we've seen is, okay, it's going to fall off. His defense isn't there anymore. The expectation of someone who at the time was 37 to still be able to guard like he was 27 is insane.
Yeah.
But he's been able to turn it on. He's had a chase down block at a point this year, which is not supposed to happen when you're 41 years old. To your point, if this is the end, he went out without looking like some of our favorite stars from the past who went out looking like shells of themselves. He went out looking like a guy who's still, at worst, a #2 on a really good team, but at best, a guy who could carry it when that #1 was out with an injury.
Yeah, and it's sad to me because I'm like, if I'm LeBron, I ride that thing till the wheels fall off. I don't care what the averages look like at the end. I'm trying to be out there Satchel Paging that thing, baby. I'm out there at 50 getting it. Just like, could you imagine a LeBron James at 45 years old, who at 45 he would still probably be able to average like 14 points a game, like all injuries, injuries aside, still be able to do that at that level. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. No, could he do it? Absolutely. Not only have the rules changed, but also he put so much into his body where it's just not even fair compared to other people. And I'm not saying, he should stop doing that. But for him, and this is just me with no context of having any contact with a guy who shares my last name, I think that next year, if he extended it anymore, would be that year where he puts everything into it. They try to build a championship roster, one that can attack the OKCs and the San Antonios of the world. And that's what he does, because I don't think he ever wants to be considered a shell of what LeBron was, because he's not one right now. And I think he's got at least one more year of not being that at all if he wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense. Speaking of Spurs, let's get into these topics for today, because we are in the NBA semifinals, right? The semifinals, conference semifinals. We know two of them are over, but two of them are still going heavy, and we want to get into that right now. Let's jump into this first topic. Who wins Spurs and the Timberwolves series? Like, which team do you think pulls this out? Right now, Spurs and Timberwolves are 2-2. Who do you have winning this series?
I actually have the Spurs winning this series in 6. And the reason I have them winning it in 6 is looking at how the game changed and how it changes periodically when Wembanyama is not in the game for the Timberwolves. They get downhill. They're willing to threaten him like they did in game 1, but they're more apt to do it and more successful when he's not in the game. In this past game, the Spurs showed that they had some metal to themselves without Wembanyama. So now that he's back, they'll be at home in this first game. And then I think in the next game, they'll just be a little bit too much for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And Ant still isn't 100%. He's just that guy that if you get him the chance, he can get it done. I don't think they'll have the chance truly in this game coming up, or even game 6 if Wemby keeps its composure.
Yeah, Spurs to win this game 4-2, right? Spurs to win 4-2 is essentially 2x your money, so you're able to double up your money there on a 4-2 Spurs win. I talked about Minnesota before, man. It's just something about Anthony Edwards that makes it hard for me to go against them if you're going to play them. Now, I mean, obviously, they got their second win, no Wemby. You're probably not going to get that luxury in any of these other wins, except we've seen them win with Wemby out there, so we know they can get that done. I think if I just look at the money, right, I would probably be more inclined to bet with the money. Either I'm taking the Spurs in 7 because that's going to give me 2.8x on my money, or I'm taking Minnesota in 7 because that's going to give me 7.25x on my money. Like, I'm looking at this as a 7-game series. I think one of these 3 games Minnesota gets for sure. I think Minnesota finds a way to win one of the 3, which means it's going 7. Like, because I don't see Minnesota beating the Spurs 2 games in a row. Right? So if Minnesota's going to win it, I think they win it because they find a way to get a game 5. They let down on game 6. They come back and they grind one out in the game 7. I don't necessarily see them winning 2, but if they lose game 5, I think they leave it all bullets out of the chamber on game 6. they run out of gas in game 7, Spurs get them. But either way, I think my money would be on investing in a 7-game series and whoever comes out on that side in the 7 games.
No, and you know what? The one thing that I can add to that is we talk so much about experience and also people clinching up and how things change in the game 7. Even though they'd have the home game, the environment would be familiar to Minnesota versus that San Antonio team. We have seen teams, even when they're better. Hey, we just talked about LeBron. The 73-win Golden State Warriors at full strength at home. They're supposed to win in Oracle. Sometimes you just dig down and you get a little bit in your system, and Ant has that killer instinct in him. So if I was going to go 7 games, I would actually take Minnesota, to your point.
Yeah, I think there's a chance Minnesota pulls off the upset and then just gets boat raced in the Western Conference Finals. Like I don't see, because they foul too much to try to beat OKC.
It's a terrible matchup for them.
Yeah, it's a bad matchup for them. It's a much better matchup for the Spurs.
Correct.
Because they have that eraser inside with Wemby that can change the math. Now we don't have to foul you, Shea. We just funnel you to Wemby and let Wemby just stand there and send you stuff the other way. Let's get to this second one, because I'm interested to see which way you're going in this series. Who wins? Detroit and Cleveland. They are 2-2 right now. It looked as if early on, like Detroit might be able to stretch this thing to a 3-1 lead. Cleveland came back, was a lot more fierce than I thought. Right now, who do you have winning this series, getting the next 2 out of the 3?
So when I was looking at it when the series started, I said, you know what, Detroit, especially having that extra home game, they'll probably get it done. But as I started to look at this, Detroit's missing something that actually gave me pause to them going into the playoffs. A secondary scoring option that's truly dependable. Now, we can say Tobias Harris. I don't really think he's that. He's the midi-game guy. He's not a guy who goes and gets his own bucket consistently. You got guys like that on Cleveland, and you have those bigs who are getting used to playing big instead of just being tall, right? This reminds me of the 2019 Toronto versus Milwaukee series, where Milwaukee went out 2-0, and then Toronto took them down because Kawhi went ham. Give me Donovan Mitchell and company, probably actually finishing this out in 6 because they're on one right now.
Yeah, I think that's interesting that you bring up the Kawhi Leonard comparison, and here's why I love James Harden going to, this team. The problem with James Harden is James Harden's never been a closer. He's never been a guy down the stretch of a series that you could lean on to get it done. That's just he wilted, he folded. Donovan Mitchell has been waiting for this opportunity. Donovan Mitchell's like, yo, no, just get me to the end of the game. Get me to the end of the series, and I'll do it, big dog. You ain't got to do. Listen, go hang out with all the Cleveland strippers you want to hang out with. We're good over here. You just do a little something in the first 3 quarters, right? Do a little something in the first 3 quarters, and then I got you, baby. Like, we good. So I think that Donovan Mitchell is looking at this thing like, this is what I'm made for. This is what I'm bred for, and he's waiting for it. I don't know if they get it done in 6, but I think that the smart move, because the money is pretty even all the way across the board. Detroit to win it 4-2 is traded in almost 4x. Detroit to win it 4-3 is trading at a little over 3x. Cleveland to win it 4-2 is trading at 3.8x, and Cleveland to win it 4-3 is trading at 4.31x. If it's me, I'm looking at trying to maximize my Cleveland, because I'm like you. I think Cleveland has more offensive firepower to get it done. They play good D. I think that Detroit is really relying on one guy to be the nuclear option, and that's Cade Cunningham. He's way too inefficient for me. I think that Cleveland gets it done. I don't know if it's in 6. I don't know if it's in 7, I'd be willing to invest in both to make sure that I came out on the positive end of that side.
If you want to make a little extra money, depending on whether you want it in 6 or 7, if you believe in Cleveland, actually take them in game 5, because Detroit is the favorite in game 5. You might as well go get yourself some money here, because to your point, maybe Detroit, they fight off the demons. If they lose game 5, they come back and they win their game 6. So it goes to 7. But honestly, I feel like if they lose this game 5, which is on the board, they need to Karis LeVert to kind of go ham in the first to get them back in the game. If this happens, then they have virtually no chance, 1% chance in game 6. They're not winning in Cleveland.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm with you. Like hedging your investment and putting a little something on game 5 makes a lot of sense, because now if you hit game 5, now you're really up. So it doesn't matter game 6 or game 7 which one hits. You're still going to really be up because you've hit 2 out of your last 3 hits, and those 2 are for 4, 4 plus X. As we're talking right now, the money is moving. Cleveland to win 4-2 at 4.1X. Cleveland to win 4-3 at 4.31X. So the favorite is on the side of Detroit as the 1 seed, but neither CJ or I believe that this game is trending towards Detroit.
No, it just doesn't look good for Detroit, even though I think they have a bright future.
Absolutely. Like, I don't think this will be the end of them, but I just don't think they get it done this time. Let's go and look at our next market. Will Oklahoma City repeat or nope? Not getting it done. What do you think on Oklahoma City repeating as champions this year?
So Oklahoma City is rooting for 2 things to happen. They want Detroit to end up winning the East, and they want Minnesota to end up winning this next series. Then yes, they are rubber stamp it, back-to-back champs. There's actually really interesting matchups otherwise. We all talk about the whole Wemby thing in San Antonio, and we know why that's an interesting matchup. The Knicks match up extremely well with them because it's virtually a Bizarro version of that team. And I don't mean on the negative side. It's just a weird version flipped. They got the bigs in there, one who can't really score, but does do some things on the defensive side. They got the other big in there who, if he's on his game, he's a problem. They have the point guard who can score, whether it's getting contact or just getting it out the gutter on you. They have these wings that do a lot of different things for you, and they can make flurries of shots. I actually don't think OKC repeats, not because they don't have the talent to do so, but I think they have a harder field to go through than they did last year.
So here is where things get interesting, ladies and gentlemen. So right now, Oklahoma City is trading at 63%. By the way, this market, the money in this market, CJ, $174 million. Mere can of corn, mere bag of shells, But right now, Oklahoma City is 63% to repeat, which means that if you don't think they're going to repeat, you can take the option no. You can short them, and now you're going to get 2.5x on your money by going against them. That means if anybody else wins it, anybody else wins it, you're going to win it. Like anytime you can get like 2.5 on your money when you're talking about like multiple people, the field essentially. So you're saying Oklahoma City or the field, I'll take the field, and you're going to give me 2.5. Like that to me makes a lot of sense when we're talking about how you want to invest in your sports markets. Like this isn't the way of the world where it's like, oh, well, you have to bet on whoever Oklahoma City is playing. No, you just have to bet that anybody else is going to win it other than Oklahoma City. I like those odds. For me, I think what happens is if Oklahoma City can't stop the others, from being legitimate like double-digit scorers, then New York wins. Because I know what Jaylen Brunson is going to do.
Right.
Like, I know what he's going to do. Like, he doesn't give a damn about Lou Dort. Like, Lou Dort doesn't scare him at all. And so if your Mikal Bridges can be a consistent 12 to 14 points, if Hart can be 10 to 12 along with his eight assists and 6 rebounds, they've been allowed to rest OG. And so now you get a healthy OG Anunoby back for, a finals run, hopefully. If he can be his 16 to 18 points. And then you've got Cat over there who just needs to not fall in love with the 3-point shot when he gets matched up with Chet, because Hartenstein can guard him. Maybe he pulls Hartenstein outside. But when he gets Chet Holmgren on him, there's no reason to shoot threes, my baby.
Bring on the box.
Go ahead, take him down there and do what everyone should do to Chet Holmgren, which is abuse him. He weighs 135 pounds, soaking wet with a snowsuit and combat boots on. There ain't no way this guy's supposed to be out here like D'ing you up in the paint. So I think that becomes interesting if it is a Knicks and OKC final. Obviously, the Spurs they have their own. They give them their own problems. I think that Detroit would be an interesting matchup as well, because Detroit leans so heavily into defense. I just don't know who else is going to be able to score regularly.
Correct.
To go with it. That's the problem there for me. Let's take a look at one more before we get out of here. And this is obviously New York Knicks. Can New York Knicks win it all? Well, of course they can win it all. But in your opinion, the New York Knicks, who are currently trading at 6.73x, is that something that you like for a team to win it all? Do you think that they have what it takes to get it done this year and like have them burn New York City to the ground?
It was a weird and interesting shift as far as style of play, and it was extremely simple. Hey, Carl, become a level of facilitator so that Jaylen Brunson can do his thing later on in the game, but just early in the game. It's facilitating. A lot of the situations that have happened have come from that, getting wide open threes, because he was the number 1 overall pick for a reason. Karl-Anthony Towns is extremely talented. The problem is consistency, and sometimes he just has issues with making poor decisions. Well, he hasn't been making them. So if this continues, which has happened over the last 6 games, actually 7 now? There's no – I honestly think that they have the easiest path to the NBA championship, because OKC probably has to go through Big Vic and company, while over here on the East, you have them having to go through either Donovan Mitchell, who can either shoot him in or shoot him out of the gym, or going against Detroit, who doesn't have a secondary scorer. So, yeah, the Knicks can definitely win, and they have a great path to it, considering what they've done in 7 straight games.
Yeah, like, do you worry that Karl-Anthony Towns turns back into a pumpkin, like, at midnight?
I would be if it wasn't – if it happened for 2 games and then game 3 had happened and he turned back into pumpkin, because we've seen him do that before when he was with Minnesota and even with – Tom Thibodeau in New York. It's been 7 straight games. So if he just says, maybe I should listen, maybe I should do this, then I don't think they have an issue. It's just whether or not it stops working. If they get down the series, that's when I think he turns back into a pumpkin, and it'd have to be like a 2-1, 3-1 type of situation for him to lose his mind.
I also wonder if there's Eastern Conference pressure, because they're going to be, even though like if Detroit wins, they're the 1 seed, but the favorite will be the Knicks because of the way the Knicks did Philly. Like, the favorite will be the Knicks. But whomever comes out of that series, it makes me wonder, like, like do they get in their own? That's my only problem with the Knicks is do they get in their own way? Like do they do the things? Do they get out of character? Do people start trying to do things they haven't been doing before? Like, is there something different that they start looking to do that helps them out? There's no value in going against the Knicks to win it right now, like, because the Knicks are only 14%. Because I'm assuming they look at OKC and say, well, OKC is going to be the overwhelming favorite to win it all. So everybody else is down there, right? But man, I just hope that the Knicks allow themselves the opportunity to be great. I don't know if they win it all. I think they can win it all. So I'd be willing to put a light investment in this. But I just hope that they don't get in their way of being great. Like, if they win, I want someone to beat them. I don't want them to just give it away.
100%. And that's part of the reason why I thought that the Knicks could, get in their own way in that first round series against a hungry, fast, and athletic Hawks team. And they did early. They really got in their way. They lost games because they made poor choices and they allowed a team that wasn't as talented to stick with them. They haven't done it since. And having that new coach who, correct me if I'm wrong, I think a decade and a half ago was coach of the year in the NBA. So, and he's gone through it. He's been on championship teams as an assistant. He's been a head coach in his own right in Sacramento. And that loss to Indiana last year. They feel like they gave that one away in their own mind. They're going to be more serious about this. And I think that whole confluence gets the job done, at least getting out of the East and figuring out if they have the mettle for either San Antonio or OKC.
Well, I mean, if you think that that New York or OKC, if you think they're going to win it all, you might as well also bet on them to win the Eastern and Western Conference championships. And here's what I'll tell people. It's not as if there's a lot of money in that. They're less than 2x. But depending upon how much you're looking to invest, you can bring back a nice return. There's a reason why people invest in Microsoft. There's a reason why people invest in Apple, because they would get return on, their investment, even though it's not a 7x or a 3x or even a 2x. Like, sometimes if you're investing enough, like 30% can be quite beneficial. And so when you start thinking about these markets the way you think about stocks, not if you put $1,000 into a stock and it yields you 300, you're excited. I just got 30% on my money. Like, I'm excited. I'm yielding 300. Well, that's what a lot of this stuff is. When you look at a team that might be traded at like 1.5 or at 1.4, like the opportunity to make money. And that's why you have to go over to the 7oracles.com and check out all of the tools that we have over there that helps you better invest your money in these quick turnaround type of investments, not in the long ones, but in those ones that happen like pretty fast. Again, if I'm investing in a stock and within a week I put 1,000 in and my 1,000 turns into 1,300 in a week, I'm excited. And so that's the way you got to look at it. That's what we help you do over at the 7oracles.com. That's why you should be over there, checking out all of those tools and then deciding if you want to sign up for that free, membership, so you can get the full unlocked version of it. The World Cup is coming. And ladies and gentlemen, we are really going to attack the World Cup because, I like to make money and you should like to make money as well. So definitely go check out everything my boy Chris is doing over there, Chopping Up with CJ. Get it wherever you get your podcast from. Give them your socials, CJ, so they know where they can find you.
I try to keep it nice and simple. It's on the screen at CJ Florida 9. You can find me on multiple socials. X is where you really want to follow me. That's where I post a lot of my content that's related to football. It'll be expanding as we go into the NFL season. Right now, I'm doing NFL 2026 NFL draft grades right now. So I'm going through each division, giving you a breakdown because I want all 257 players who were drafted to get their flowers, and just keep up with me that way. As Gene said, you can find me on any platform where you get podcasts, and I do videos as well, so you can see my above average face on the screen via X.
Above average face. That's it. Just above average. People be just trying to like humble brag all they want. I see how it goes. You can find me everywhere at Gene Clemons, Coach Gene Clemons, over on YouTube. Follow the New York Giants on SI YouTube channel. Check out my A Giant Issue, but definitely go over to the 7oracles.com. Make sure you subscribe to the 7 Oracles on YouTube. Go over, check out the newsletter, see what we're writing that day. And then, make sure you're on the website checking out all of the tools and the bells and whistles that we have to help you be better as you navigate your Kalshis and your poly markets and all of your prediction marketplaces that you can put down on sports. Hey, even Robinhood now is getting into the game. You can go in and get and do some investing on sports on Robinhood. So if you've got a Robinhood account already, and you might have a little chicken on there already, put it in the rotisserie, let it do its thing, and then drop it back into whatever that investment that you have it in there, without having to take it out and then put it back into somewhere. So always thankful that we get a chance to come and talk. Always great to talk to you, CJ. Every week. We'll be back next week for another edition of Fade the Field, a 7 Oracles production. Until next time, peace.